Tattoos. Once synonymous with the countercultures like bikers and gangsters, they have now become a large part of the mainstream. Some say this is thanks largely to shows like LA Ink. and Miami Ink. Today you'll meet three completely different people with one thing in common: the tattoos they have that make them proud.
My name is Devin Furbush. I'm a senior at ASU, 24 years old, and I love language. Well, no, I don't really think tattoos are breaking the norm anymore, because in this society you have people like, even in college, they have full sleeve tattoos, you know.
So, describe how it feels to actually, get a tattoo.
Well, in the beginning, it's obviously gonna hurt if it's your first tattoo. But I guess it depends on if it's a shading or an outline. But for me, mine was an outline. And then I got to the shading, and yeah, it hurt. It's gonna bleed some, probably a lot. But then after a while, you just lay back, and the pain turns into like a dull, numb feeling, and it turns into like a little euphoric for me, actually. Just sitting there and taking it. Most definitely, I don't really see myself with full sleeves, but one in particular, I want to get an open book since I love to read, and I teach myself two languages, French and Japanese. I want to get like samurai flying out and French words. So that's really, those languages have pretty much played a part in my life for the past year and a half, because I'm known around as a guy who speaks 4 languages.
What's the real story on your tattoos?
Well, my first one I got when I was 18. Since my name is Devin, like all my family, they call me Dev for short, and I love that nickname. Like when I hear it, it's like, hey, what's up? And I got that, and the reason why I got it in graffiti is because I love hip hop. And so I asked my brother, my older brother, if he can draw out like a layout, a layout for me. He said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. And I guess about a month or 2 later, I went and got it.
How did your family react when you got your tattoo?
Well, my older brother, he drew this one out for me, so obviously he was all for it. My younger brother, he was still growing up. He was only 15 when I got it, so he didn't really care. But my mom, she, I didn't tell her till the day I got it, and I guess I went home and she said, "Hey, what's that thing on your arm?" I said, "It's a tattoo." And she was like, "Cause I was just fresh out of high school. I was working in a warehouse, so it's like, no, whatever. I can go to work, show it to everybody." But yeah, and it took her a while to get used to it. But after I was growing up, I guess she realized that's what I wanted, and she looked past it and she didn't judge me or anything. This one was actually funny, and then she reacted to it. I'll tell this one too.
What's your full name, man?
Daniel Martinez.
Where are you from, man?
I was actually born in this town, but I've lived all over all over Texas and all over New Mexico.
That's cool. What brought you back to San Angelo?
Just get away from. I was living in a small town called Ozona.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've lived in big cities like Fort Worth and little tiny small towns like Ozona, and I've always liked San Angelo. I thought it was a good medium.
Cool. How'd you become a tattoo artist?
It's just something I always thought was cool. Just my dad was an old biker. He was always talking about tattoos. A bunch of his friends had tattoos. A bunch of my buddies growing up, like their parents had tattoos. My grandfather actually has a tattoo across his knuckles, the only tattoo he has. So it's just something I always thought was cool, and I've always just wanted to be a part of that. I've always been into art, been drawing ever since I stopped eating the crayons.
Right. How long have you been doing tattoos yourself? How long have you been an artist?
Professionally, I'd say around 7, maybe a little over 7 years now.
Can you see yourself doing anything else?
I don't want to. I don't even want to think about that.
So you love what you do for a living?
Love it. It's so awesome. You never know what's going to walk through that door. You know what I mean? It's always the craziest or just the most simplest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's some of the most compelling stories you like? You've been doing it for 7 years. There's probably a lot of cool stories you've heard. A lot of things you've actually been a part of. What are one or two of the ones that really stick out to you?
Well, one was I did one on my cousin, and it was for an uncle of ours that had passed away, and that was really cool. Like, I don't know, it's kind of moving. You know what I mean? Like, I've done so many memorials, but it was hit differently whenever it was for somebody that I knew. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So that was your relative that you were putting on another relative.
Yes. It was our uncle that had passed, or it's actually his grandfather, my uncle.
Were you close to him when you were younger?
Oh yeah, he's like my favorite uncle. He's the one that I went and hung out with, and used to drink beers when I wasn't supposed to.
Right.
He was the cool uncle.
Was it nice being able to sort of immortalize somebody on another living person?
Yeah, it was really cool. Like I said, I've done it so many times, but when it hit that close to home, it just totally affected me differently. You know what I mean?
What was it? Was it like a mural of him?
It was a cross with the "Smile Now, Cry Later" masks.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Did it have like your name on it, or how?
You can put his nickname, Wild Bill.
Wild Bill on there.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Other than that tattoo of your relative that you did for your other relative, what tattoo really sticks out in your mind? Like, man, I'm so glad I was able to do that for that guy. What sticks out in your mind?
There's been a couple people who had some life changes. One girl that I tattooed, she was kicking dope, like she was real bad on meth, and we did a butterfly on her to represent her new beginning, and that was really cool. I got to see her about a year later. She looked super healthy, like I didn't even recognize her, and it was kind of cool. Like she introduced me to her mom. Like I saw her at HEB or something like that. She introduced me to her mom, and his mom started crying and all that stuff. Said thank you for helping her and all that. And I was like, I just did a tattoo, you know what I mean? But it's weird how it really affects some people.
My name is Casey Murphy. I'm from Winters, Texas, about 40 miles north of here, so I'm from the area. I like to tell people that I have 2 tattoos, but if all told, I probably have about 20 or 30 sittings, 20 or 30 times that I've been tattooed, but I count this as one and I count this as one, so 2. So my most recent tattoo is this one right here, and it's for my daughter. It's just to commemorate her birth, and it'll be filled in pretty soon.
What is the significance behind?
Well, when she was born, she smelled like Play-Doh, in my opinion, and so I call her Play-Doh. That's her nickname for me, is Play-Doh, and so I got the Play-Doh can with her name across it. The roses I just honestly liked, and they fit really well with the tattoo, and so I drew it up and took it in. So yeah, that's the significance of that one, is just to remind me always of when she was born. So.
Where do you get your tattoos?
I get them done at Angelo Inkworks over on Beauregard.
Do you have a specific artist?
I do have a specific artist. His name is Mike Richardson, and it's Little Mike to everybody else. And so, yeah, Little Mike is the only guy that touches me. This tattoo is a Celtic cross up on my left shoulder here, or left upper arm, and it was what started the whole addiction. I got the cross because I'm a Christian. I believe in Christ, and that's what most of this arm is dedicated to, is my walk with Christ. And it basically starts out as there's storm clouds because it hasn't been an easy walk. Sometimes it's been really tough, but he's always shined through, and so that's why all the stuff that's on here, the ichthus with Jesus' name. There's another ichthus in the Celtic cross, but the Celtic cross was important to me because of my background. My last name Murphy, from families from Ireland and stuff like that, and so to have a Celtic cross was important to me. But basically, this whole arm is dedicated to Christ, and my daughter, of course, now, which I consider a gift from God. Have one right here that is for my wife, and it means more in Hebrew. It was kind of our saying back in the day when we were dating, and still to this day. But I'll tell her I love her, and she says I love you more. That whole cheesy thing. And then I go back and say that's impossible, and we go back and forth like that whenever we're playing with each other. have a couple of scriptures on there. Psalm 91, it's a protection verse. Just a lot of promises from God that I fully believe in. John 16:33, he's talking to his disciples, telling them that he's about to go be crucified, and he tells them that he's overcome the world, basically, not to fear. That in this world you're going to have a lot of troubles, but fear not, because I've overcome the world. And if you lean on me, then you can too. And so, the Trinity symbol on the back there, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, Alpha, Omega, the beginning and the end. Just anything that can remind me of my faith and my walk with Christ is this arm. This arm was actually, I started this because there were some times that I wasn't able to be around the people that I cared about, and if I could look out at the stars, at the same time I knew that the people that I cared about that I wanted to be around could be looking at the same exact stars. It was like they were right next to each other if you're looking at the same stars. And so that's what started this one, and then I just told Mike to go nuts with whatever he wanted on it, and so he did. The only thing is there's a moon up on the top that looks like a cookie, in my opinion, or a golf ball. And so that's the only one I don't like. Every one of them, the rest of them I love. I have one across my shoulder blades that says, in Hebrew it says, go where there is no path and leave a trail. Leadership is something that's very important in my life. Trying to become, or on the path to becoming a college pastor. I'm a college missionary at the moment, and so leadership is something super important to me. Raising up leadership and church leadership that's doing it right. And so that was a Winston Churchill quote, and so I put it in Hebrew just to remind me. But yeah, that's pretty much all my tattoos. I have one dedicated to my ministry right here that says Christou Apostoli, and it's Greek for Christ's ambassadors, and so that's Chi Alpha. That's what we are, and so have that right here. So yeah, that's all of my tattoos pretty much. But yeah, they all have a personal meaning to me. I tell people that if you're going to get tattooed, it should mean something to you, and so.